So today I'm going to do a pattern that is Simplicity number 4364 for the American Doll, and I'm going to do the B view. I have some material here. It's actually a dress that is not in use anymore. We had to use part of it to fix another dress, so this is now just material to me. And I've decided that I really like this spray area right here for a decoration on the bodice. So I have copied the bodice. It usually is cut on the fold, but I needed it to be one full piece, so I could cut out one piece and not have to try to do the fold thing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna pin it on here, and it's got the facing underneath it, so I'm cutting the front and the facing all at the same time. And I'm going to the zipper is right here, but I don't need this part, so I'm going to just take that down, cut that little tack, and I'm going to pin it down because I want it out of my way. Okay. Just trying to make sure I've got all that I need to in that space. So there were no instructions that came with my pattern because I was able to get it from a friend. It's now my pattern, so I'm feeling free to use it. But my sleeves, I'm also going to use the sleeves of this dress where it already has a hem, so I don't have to hem it. So I'm kind of taking a little bit of an easy way out with this, but I'm hoping that it turns out like I'm thinking. So I also want to film this to be able to put it out there on the internet, because I could not find instructions out there for this or a video on how it's made. So it's going to be made my way, not necessarily how the instructions would have come out, because I'm winging it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out the bodice part. These are not my sharpest scissors. I usually like to use my rotary cutter, but that's just doesn't work for tabs and tight corners. I'm just going to kind of cut across there and here. I just think some little girl is going to have really a lot of fun with a fancy dress. And when I didn't have anything else to do with this material, I decided that was a grand and fun thing to do. So I'm hoping that it's working out the way I intend. And I like to do my bodices on these little dresses, for doll dresses. I like to do it double thickness, that way I can sew it inside out and not have to do a facing, because facings are just a little more tricky than, well, not tricky, I guess I'm just lazy and like to do it the easy way. Let's put it that way. I've got some facing coming out of the dress. I was like, what the heck is this? Okay, that was the zipper from the previous model of this dress. Alright, there's the front bodice. I'll take the back bodice from another place, but while I can here, I'm gonna do the sleeves. So I need to cut them off. But again, I think it'll work out fine. Oops. Okay, so there's my bodice. It's very lightweight material, so it's gonna slip and slide all over on me. Looks like the person that cut out before me gave a little bit of a tap here at the top, so I think I'll follow them. That just it was where it's gonna hit the center seam, or the seam of the bodice. See if we did it. Good enough. Okay. Now let's see where I'm gonna take the back bodice from. And this spray was actually the back of the dress. It zipped up right here and it just sprayed out from that, so it's really pretty. But we're going to try. And I brushed it off to the floor, so I'm going to bring it back up here. Now, same thing here, just a little bit. I have to fiddle with the bottom of the dress to kind of get it so I can cut this out straight. You know, it might just have to be a little bit fudged. I'm just making it work. And even if it's coming in here a little bit from the sides here, it will work out in the end because I will have gathers and everything here anyway. And then the skirt will just be full. So it's going to work just fine. And for this part, I am going to use my rotary cutter. Come on. If there's any nicks or anything in the cutting board, then it doesn't break. Oh, and I just took off the tab over here, but that's okay. It's just on the end. But I do want this one. There's the skirt part, and I'll deal with that in a minute because I'm going to have to really pin it together. here, we can do the back bodice. If I can find what I did with it. Okay, I'm going to turn it over so I can see kind of the grain of the fabric. Now right here is the little tab that would match up with the skirt that I cut off, but I'm going to go ahead and give my tab here anyway because it helps to line things up. These are Guggenheim shears that I'm using, but I've had them for a little while, so they are not as sharp as they used to be. Alrighty, we've cut out our pieces. I will go to the sewing machine and tack all these down so that I can sew with them easily with you on. Okay, I've gotten my pieces all cut out and sewn. And I'm just going to show you now. So these are my back pieces. I sewed all the way around so I could keep the two fabrics together. And here's my front piece. And it kept the folds for me. And then I had to cut another lining piece because the original one had a seam through it on the back of the fabric that I didn't know. So we just cut a new one. And before I started sewing all this, I had to change my needle so that I had a fresh needle, and I used a size 10 to try and hopefully not snag it like I did a little bit. Okay, so we put our fronts and backs together, and now I do have a lot of threads that I'm gonna have to watch for and pull out. So there's that front and back. And then my lining front and back. Let's see. I believe it goes that way. That one and that one. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew these front and backs together, and then I'm going to put them front and back together this way. Okay, hopefully that's a good view. So I've got my front side that I'm going to put front and back together. Try to match them up as best I can. Whoa! Oh, I forgot I did I wound a bobbin, and so it was just kicking back in gear. Because I ran out of bobbin thread. These lined up, and I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam. Oops, I guess I didn't have to cut that. Got the lining piece to do too. I always do a back stitch when I stop my seams, or stop or start anything really. Okay, now I can just finger press for now. Eventually we'll have to go to the iron. Oops, I got a thread in here I need to cut. Well, there we go. Oh, and then this one. And this one had an extra facing behind it when I just cut it out from the dress, so I left it there because I thought it helped make it look nicer with the plates and stuff on the front. Gave it some good stability. Okay, now I'm gonna put front sides together. Get our shoulder seams matched up here. Get me a pin and then I put it right through the seam, middle of the seam, and go over here to the back side and make sure it's in the middle of the seam as well. It was really close. I probably could have left it, but I didn't. Okay, the other side. Open it back up. Goodness. Put it right through my seam carefully because I got my finger behind it. Perfect. Okay, then we'll go over here and match up. This side. Not sure what I got going on here. I pulled it too far to the back. I matched it up at pinpoint, but it slid from out here, so get that matched back up. So we can get that matched back up. Pretty close. It's as good as that's gonna get. And then I need to, and I'm gonna pin a lot here just because I don't want it moving on me and I want it to be a nice neckline. Okay. And this one seemed to have a little bit of a bobble there. Just to get them all nice and straight. Okay. Now I'm going to go around the neckline, but I'm also going to go down the back because then it makes a nice seam, finished seam for the back. So I'm actually going to start at the back down here. Stuff does slide around. Let me find my pins because I put them on the other side. Okay, and then put my needle down to be able to turn that nicely. And now when I get over here to where it's starting to turn, to make sure my seams are underneath, then I like to just go a couple of things, put it down just a bit, turn it just ever so slightly, a couple more stitches down, turn it ever more slightly. just helps to make it a nice round seam, and then you're not pulling on the fabric to turn it around. Sometimes when you pull especially this kind of fabric, it just puckers it and pulls it out of shape. Cottons are not so bad, but these kind of fabrics are a little harder. Okay, I gotta get my seams. Make sure the seams are open. Turn it again. And I have a pin in there, so I gotta be careful going over that. Again, go down over here and go needle down. Get lined up. Okay, take our pins out. And then we need to clip the seam so that it will turn inside out nicely. So we can just do little clips and not go into your stitching. If you do, you gotta go back over it and stitch over it so it doesn't come undone. And it's not like you got to make any teeny clips, but the closer your clips are together, the better it'll turn inside out and smoothly and straight. Okay, and then I'm going to clip off my corner so it'll tuck under pivot point underneath there. Okay, let's see how we do it. Get over here to this side. Turn that corner under. And then we'll go to the iron to iron this so it'll press nicely. Okay, and then I will have some stitches that I'll have to take out from when I basted it together to hold it together while I worked with it. But as long as you do it carefully, that'll come out just fine. Okay, we'll go to the iron. Okay, iron is ready. Now I'm gonna press open that back seam first to get that part nice and straight. Other side. Gotta get it in there just a little bit better and open it up, not burn me. Okay. Now, let's see. I need a stiletto, but I gotta be careful so I don't poke it through here. I just want to push my corner out tight. That looks good. On the other side. Okay. And I can iron it, press it on the front side. Press the side. Then I can get around and get that neckline better. And the neckline is a little bit stiff for me because it had that extra lining or extra interfacing inside there, so it's stiffer than just your regular interfacing. But that's okay. It's what's going to make it look nice. My pleats all stayed there, and I'm going to iron it from this side as well. And now if this were an adult dress or a real person dress, I would go in here and sew the interfacing to the back because it just helps pull it back in. And maybe I'll do that for the front part at least anyway, just because it helps it stay back here. Okay, and we'll be ready to put the skirt on and then the sleeves. Now we'll get the bodice ready to go. Let's see, hold on. Nope, I lied, because the bodice goes, it's all one piece and it goes all the way around. So I have to go sew my underarm seams together. So we'll be right back. Alrighty, we'll try that again. So I need to mark my middle and the front because I do have the middle of the skirt marked. And then I'm going to bring the skirt over here and mark. I actually accidentally got a little crease right there, so that was my middle. It just happened to be the correct middle. And then I'm going to bring it in because I have to have a seam allowance here. And then there's my side. And then bring it over here to match up with the seam allowance. And mark my middle, or the side over here. Okay. Then it's going to fit together with the middles here. Then my side. Match the other side. Okay, well, I'll get it all pinned on and sew up the back a little bit, and I'll be back. Now I've got it all gathered together and pinned together so I can sew it on. I sewed up the back, and I have a serger, so I serged it too because I wanted my seams finished off, and I also sewed up the back so it could fit underneath the bodice seam. So we're gonna sew it on, and then I'm gonna do the standard, have to pull over the lining and kind of hem it over top, but I'm gonna get my pleats back over here to the side, push them, even them out right here, make sure my lining is underneath and not gonna get caught up in it. Take this pin out. And off we go. Again, just even out and make sure all my gathering is pretty even. Like it was getting caught up on something. Actually, this dress has been fairly easy because I didn't have to hem it because I used the bottom of the dress that was already hemmed, and I don't have to hem the sleeves because I also used a part of the dress that was already hemmed. So it's actually a fairly easy dress to put together because I don't have those steps to do too. Almost there. Hold on to my gathers so I can not have it loose, but be able to spread them out here. Get out. Okay. Now, when we turn it right side out, we have all the gathers around there. And I do have my gathering stitch showing, so I'll pull that out and it won't be showing. But now we're ready to put the sleeves on. Okay. As I rethink this whole dress, if I were to start over, so if you're watching instructions before you do your own or learn from this, sleeves are little on doll dresses, and I should have put the sleeve on before I sewed the seam, because then I could have just sewed the seam up through the sleeve. Okay, there's one sleeve that I had to sew together, and now this one I gotta sew the underneath too because it has to be sewn up to be in there. On adult or human clothing, it's not that bad to do it this way. In fact, most patterns are this way, but on doll clothes, not so much. You have to turn it right side out and come from the outside, or inside if you want to say that, but it's on the outside seam, and bring it in here to put it all together. And see, I get to play with this little teeny hole because I'm not going to undo it. Remember, I had a little notch thing here at the top, so I know where the shoulder seam is. Pin that back together. And then I gotta do all the gathers to make it fit. Well, that was just a load of fun. I finally did, by little by little, by inch, get a seam sewn in there with the sewing machine. And then I had so much fray that I just went over with a zigzag because I can't get my serger in there. So I'm hoping the zigzag will hold that together like that. And I did get both of them done, so the sleeve on the outside looks okay, and it'll look better when I can pull it all the way inside out. So now what I'm going to do is go to the sewing machine, not the sewing machine, excuse me, the iron. I think I'm getting tired because this is just driving me crazy. Anyway, I've got to go to the iron and press my seam up, and then I can bring it down over and hand sew the bodice inside so that it'll be finished on the inside. And then we'll go from there. Okay, I've got my needle threaded and I've got my bodice pinned down. So I'll sew that down, and then we should be about ready to just do the closure and be done. So I'll be back. Okay, I did hand sew the bodice inside, the facing down, and finished that. And then I ended up putting snaps on the back to finish. I thought snaps might be easier for little hands, and I didn't want to put Velcro on this because I was afraid it would snag the fabric really bad. And then my granddaughter, excuse me, thought it would be really pretty to put a row around the neck. It's just a string of, fake pearl beads or whatever. And so we hand sewed that on around the neckline. And then I happened to have this ribbon in my stash. And so we put the ribbon on it. It is centered. It looks kind of funny, but it is centered. I think that my spray of the pleats kind of makes it look like it's a little off center, but it really is. And so it turned out really good. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, please like, give me thumbs up, subscribe, share, and come back again. Thanks so much.